with Rob Sanders.
Well, we're waiting.
Welcome into the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us today. It's Friday, ladies and gentlemen. You have made it. Yes, I know you folks that sit in those cubicles and you're thinking, man, just gotta get through. Once Rob goes on the air, I've only got about an hour because the boss is gonna leave soon, and I can get my weekend started. As I open up my Zoa energy drink, which, by the way, you should be sponsoring the show there, Zoa, because I drink this every day. 0-calorie energy drink. You need that in your life. All right. Today on the show, we're going to have our picks against the spread. We're also taking your calls. If you want to call up and tell me why your team is going to win this weekend, whether you are a Florida fan, if you want to tell us that Florida is going to stomp Vanderbilt by 40 points, which they should. If you're an Auburn fan and you think that you have a chance against that Georgia juggernaut, and I think that's what I'm going to call Georgia right now, until somebody actually squares off with them and hits them in the mouth where they actually can feel it, I'm going to refer to them as the Georgia juggernaut. Okay? So the Georgia juggernauts this weekend head down to Auburn. If you're an Auburn fan and you think that you have a chance, that Bo Nix is the guy that can do it, we'll take those calls at 803-978-1832. We'll also take calls from Kentucky fans. I know that you are high on your team right now, and you're facing that wounded animal in LSU where their coach is the problem. That's just as real as we can get it. Everything else seems to be okay there, but their coach is the problem. As I stare at my wonderful engineer who's coming here to mess with my stuff right as I go on the air, if I go off the air, it's his fault, just so you know. Anyway, 803-978-1832. We will take your calls on that. Also, we're going to look at South Carolina and Tennessee. How can South Carolina go on the road and pull off what some would think would be an upset? I don't think it's an upset because I don't think Tennessee is that good. We'll also look at other games around the ACC and the SEC, and then we will pick games against the spread. We'll also talk about championship droughts that could end this season. Not just national championship droughts, but I'm talking about, conference championship droughts. One of those could be in the ACC where Clemson looks like a gong show. They really do. And until they can get up off the mat, we have to put it in our head that someone else can win the ACC. So could there be a different ACC champ this year? I'll give you my thoughts on that, in addition to some other stuff that may be down, and of course, picks against the spread. But let's start with the South Carolina and Tennessee matchup. Big matchup for South Carolina if they want to go to a bowl game with the rest of their schedule. Now, I know some folks look at that schedule and they're like, you know what? Texas A&M doesn't really look that good. Florida lost to Kentucky, and, the Gamecocks hung with Kentucky. Maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance for that. I think going to a bowl game for South Carolina they have to win this game this week. All right. That's just the way that it works. They did struggle against Georgia, but then again, everybody does. They did keep East Carolina somewhat in check. If you take away the gadget play at the beginning of the game, pretty much held them in check. Slowed down Kentucky, although that's not saying much. Kept Troy pretty much in neutral all day, even though Troy had a quarterback that couldn't really plan on his left leg. I don't know how that happened. So we'll see how that goes. Gamecocks have allowed 17 points just once this season, and that was to the Georgia Juggernauts. They have 14 takeaways on the year, two or more in every game. Think about that. That's something you got to look at. You can't really determine if turnovers are going to be something that you can count on. And people that if you place a wager on something and you think, all right, this team's going to turn the ball over, that could not happen. Could not happen. Tennessee has not been turning the ball over. Hendon Hooker, when he came in for Milton, he did turn the ball over against Pitt a couple of times, had a turnover against Tennessee Tech, and 0 turnovers since then. He hit 79% of his passes, 225 yards, and 3 touchdowns, almost 12 yards a throw against Mizzou. Also ran for 80 yards and a score. But the other story is Tyon Evans, 156 yards on the ground and 3 scores. You put those two together, 4 touchdowns, 236 yards. That is getting the job done on the ground. And Tennessee does that tempo. They call it tempo. It's basically we're trying to run 3 plays every minute is basically what it boils down to for Tennessee. All right. Does South Carolina have a chance to win? Yes, they do. Going into this, if you think, oh, there's no shot, this is not the Georgia Juggernauts that you're playing. Okay? Jay with the quote of the day online. And Jay, we're going to pin that for a little bit because I think it's funny. Never rely on a hooker. Very good, sir. Very good. I like it. That is some life advice, Trip. Very good. Anyway, so with that, Tennessee has all the momentum behind them. Is South Carolina, their wins, they don't look like, other than Eastern Illinois, did you really feel confident about any of the wins that South Carolina has over East Carolina? They needed a game win into the fourth quarter. And then with Troy, things were silly there too. Let's go out to the phones, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. And welcome into the program. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm fine.
What you got for the show today?
I didn't know you were such a big hater at the Florida Gators. You are a hater.
No, sir. I'm not a hater of the Florida Gators. I don't understand where you get that from.
The first
I'm
word
an
out
equal
your mouth
opportunity
every day.
haters. I hate everyone. It is the way that it boils down to. Florida's got a good team. They shot themselves in the foot twice. They should have beaten Alabama. And I don't know what happened at Kentucky. How do you almost double up Kentucky and lose? How does that happen?
Well, mistakes.
Mistakes. Okay.
They're mistakes. They got to be more disciplined. Stop jumping outside penalties.
I have zero hate in my heart, sir. Let's make sure we put that out there. I don't hate anything.
Oh, yeah. You hate them Gators.
Why would I hate the Gators? It's not like they win anything. I mean, come on. How can I hate something that doesn't really win all the time? If you want to hate something, you can hate Alabama. They rule college football.
No, they don't rule nothing.
Okay, sir. What else you got for the show?
I ain't got nothing, man. You just such a hater.
I am not a hater, but I appreciate your call.
All right.
Thank you so much. I am not a hater of the Florida Gators. I do believe that is Hollywood calling me out saying that I hate the Florida Gators. I don't hate Florida. I don't hate any of that. Cowboy John says if it helps the caller out on the phone, he hates the Gators. You know what, John? We're going to let you have that. You can be the person that hates the Gators. If anybody else wants to step up and hate the Gators, they can. I don't have any hate in my heart. Not an ounce. Sorry. We'll take your calls at 803-978-1832. I should have asked him, are they going to cover the spread? 39 points is a lot. Steve says Hollywood brought nothing to the show today. Jimmy asked if Pittsburgh is better than Southern Cal. I don't know. Are they going to play? I don't know what you're talking about. Jay says everybody knows the Gators lost a lot and their coach will be vacationing on buyout money after Halloween. I wonder if Dan Mullen and Coach Ed Orgeron will get together and vacation together after the season's over. That might happen. That might happen. Jimmy says there's a lot of us that hate the Gators. I don't hate the Gators. I don't really hate anything. I don't hate anything. Anyway, taking your calls at 803-978-1832. For South Carolina to win, they're going to have to keep up the winning the turnover battles. That's what's going to have to happen. They've been plus in every game. I think that that's, if you had to look at one thing that the Georgia Juggernauts have done wrong this season, is they let South Carolina force them into more turnovers. Other than that, they're the Georgia Juggernauts. So there you go with that. Anyway, for South Carolina to win, they've got to turn Tennessee over. Hope that Tennessee comes into it kind of sleepwalking a little bit. 12 noon game. You've heard the stories about that. Having to get up early, team breakfast early. They are college kids. Do they focus that much early in the morning? We'll find out. They looked pretty focused last week when they beat the snot out of the Mizzou. Cowboy John says he doesn't hate the Gators. He's only joking. He does hate Clemson, though. There's a lot of hate over in the chat room today. We don't need all this hate. It's Friday. You guys should be getting out and happy, although the weather outside is kind of miserable. It's one of those days where you wish it were like cold, so you can go home and put a fire in the fireplace, that kind of thing. But it's still like muggy, but it's just, ugh. Florida equals New York South. Thank you, Trip. Jerome says, we're playing Tennessee and the Happy Meals. Okay. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the rundown. I don't think I'm a hater. If you want to call me a hater, I'm fine with that. I'll take whatever comes with it. Anyway, for South Carolina to get there, they got to turn Tennessee over. Hope that, and by the way, fix this. Pick one running back and stick with it. That's nothing against Juju McDowell. That's nothing against Marshawn Lloyd. It's nothing against those guys. Zakondre White, all of those guys have put up good numbers for South Carolina. But your best running back is Kevin Harris if he's healthy. He should be getting 20 carries a game. Because let's be honest, you don't really have the passing game where you can throw the ball up and down the field. So why not give it to the guy that led the conference in rushing last season? I know that's insane, but that's what you should be doing. If you're listening, Coach Satterfield, feel free to hit my Venmo if I helped you out a little bit. Out to the phones. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, Rob. This is the Biscuit. How are you?
What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Good. I'm not calling about the coaches list that you haven't put out yet, so don't worry about that.
I haven't had time to write it. Hold on, respectfully, I just haven't had time to write it. No, and I can message you online about it, but I just haven't had time to write it. But go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, the name Hollywood is a perfect name for that guy because the things he says are about as intelligent as the things that people say from Hollywood, too. It's all nonsense. But the real reason why
he's gonna call you a hater, man. Are you going to be a hater?
I am what I am.
Fair enough. What you got?
It's by definition by person, right? It's not an overall thing. It's a person's interpretation of what I am.
Fair enough. What else?
But the real reason I'm calling in is over concern for Carolina Jackpot. I was watching the show the other day, and I see him slugging Miller Tall Boys and chasing it with a 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew. Do you know what that does to your body? I mean, lethal injection kills you slower than what he's doing to his body.
My buddy Carolina Jackpot, who is on the show with us at times, is a master of all of that. So you got to get with him. Find him on Twitter at Hall_Kale. And you can try to message him about his eating habits and drinking habits, but he's a grown-ass man and probably will tell you where you can go.
Yeah, well, I mean, his heart is probably confused. I mean, he tells it, he drinks a beer and he's telling it to slow down. Then he drinks Mountain Dew, he's telling it to speed up. His heart doesn't know whether to run or pass. It's kind of like the South Carolina offensive coordinator.
Ouch. Well, you're right about that. They should be running the ball and not throwing it. Good point, sir. Anything else?
But other than that, I'll give you your phone line back to take some other calls.
Well, hey, man, thanks for calling the show. We appreciate it. You have a great weekend.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. All right, Biscuit joining the program. 803-978-1832. As I was saying, before we were worrying about my buddy Carolina Jackpot drinking beer and Mountain Dew together, I don't know why he does that. That's on him. You can tweet at him at Hall_Kale. He'll be happy to entertain those tweets. But South Carolina needs to give the ball to Kevin Harris 20 times this weekend. That's what should happen. Tennessee had issues with Beatty from Mizzou. He was running the ball. Why not give them the time to do that? Why not give him the time to do that? 20 carries for Kevin Harris. And then you can put Marshawn Lloyd in there as a change of pace type back. That's what you should be doing. If you want to win, I think that's the key. 803-978-1832. By the way, if you are a South Carolina fan, you should be listening to our best Gamecock coverage. It is on our sister station, 103.5 FM WVOC. I work on the pregame show and host the postgame show with former Gamecock wide receiver Tim Frisbee and Justin Hall. And we break down whatever happens in the game, and it's actually honest radio. It's not like this nonsense where they're going to tell you, oh, well, this is the most wonderful thing in the world, and we can't hold anyone accountable. No. We're honest with you over there. It's the most honest post-game show on the air. As soon as the game is over, as it hits zeros, it's very simple. Go online, and you can follow it on Twitter at the 103.5 FM WVOC Twitter page, also the Facebook page there. It streams there, and you can find it on the iHeartRadio app. We'll take calls right as the game ends, and everything you need to know about the game. Josh Kendall from The Athletic joins us and gives us all of the great info that he gets for tomorrow's matchup. We'll have everything you need to know as far as injuries and everything else as the Gamecocks are up at Tennessee. Some of the comments, Mountain Dew, I can't read that. Thank you, Jay. A comment about Mountain Dew is the nectar of people. We'll leave it at that. Let's see here. Eric says, go MF and Vols. All right. Zach says Tennessee has a pretty good run defense, but mobile QBs have been a problem. Doty's legs will have to be a factor. I don't know if Doty's legs are completely healthy. I really don't. We shall see. All right, we're taking your calls at 803-978-1832. The magic numbers for tomorrow are 20 and 2. 20 carries for Kevin Harris, 2 turnovers, the Gamecocks force. If that happens, they're going to walk out of Knoxville with a win. And then you look at the schedule, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. They've got 4 wins. Vanderbilt is a gong show on fire. Yeah, they could be sitting at 5 wins. And you look at the rest of the schedule, you're like, where can we pick up one more? Where can we pick up one more and get to be bowl eligible for South Carolina, which would be monumental in the first year there for Shane Beamer? Get those extra bowl practices for some of those young guys. Yeah, very important. You may end up at the Birmingham Bowl, but hey, doesn't matter. A bowl game in the first season after you won 6 games combined in 2 years, huge for what Shane Beamer's trying to build down there at South Carolina. 803-978-1832. Quick break. When we come back, we'll look at some of the other matchups in the SEC. ACC has a light schedule this week. I think there's only like 4 games. Coastal Carolina beat the snot out of somebody last night. Yeah, we could talk about the bad boys from Conway if you want. 803-978-1832. 803-978-9832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. I don't know if Doty's completely healthy. I enjoy when fans snipe at each other. That's kind of funny. They are limited edition. That's a good point, John. Oh, that's funny. I might get spit cups with the Rob and Kale Show logo on them. Who wants one of those? I could probably get those made. Who wants one of those? A Rob and Kale Show spit cup. Oh man. I don't know if I can send it. You're in Tennessee, right, Alan? That's like a foreign country, man. I don't know if I want to pay the taxes on that. By the way, folks that were upset that Jackpot about Jackpot deleting a video, you can record those videos while he's live. Got a lot of people upset about why did he delete the video? Well, look, and Eric, let's be honest. If you lose, if you beat South Carolina, it's not like you're beating like a world power here. Jimmy, we might have to get some of those made, brother. Jimmy says he can do the spit cups. That'd be funny. Turnovers and they stop drinking Mountain Dew. Well, welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Randall goofing on the Tennessee fans, say they're giving 5,000 collectible spit cups to the first 5,000 fans tomorrow. If you're going up there for the game, don't expect the spit cup. Those 5,000 are probably already accounted for and gone. So don't even think about that. He says also they're sponsored by McDonald's. Of course they are. If you have a Tennessee spit cup and it doesn't have the golden arches on it and Ronald McDonald waving to people in the background, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear any noise from you. They're just silly then. And anything you get at a game is going to be sponsored by somebody anyway. It's like, yay, we're going to give you a t-shirt and it'll have like a little itty bitty logo. And then around it, it's like the medical center of the Midlands, dartboard company, whatever. There's like 80 other logos besides that. If you're going to have a commemorative spit cup, it should have the McDonald's logo on it on one side and Ronald McDonald holding a T on the other. Just like, there you go with that. Anyway, I stand by what I said. The two stats from earlier. 20 carries for Kevin Harris and +2 on turnovers. That happens for South Carolina tomorrow. They will win over Tennessee. All right, here we go. Let's look at some of the other SEC games. Sparkles says you don't need a cup at Neyland. Is the whole stadium just a spittoon? Oh my goodness, that's harsh. All right, let's look. We'll start with the Georgia Juggernauts going down to Auburn. Lines up to 16.5. Here's the big thing with this, in my opinion. For Auburn to win, for Georgia to win, they have to show up and take the game seriously. It's pretty much what it boils down to. They have the better team. When you can do that, you're going to win a lot of games. Now, if we're looking for a way for Auburn to win, here's how it has to happen. They have to make the Georgia Bulldogs a one-dimensional team, meaning we don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be, so we can just pull a name out of a hat. Could be JT Daniels. We don't know if he's healthy or not. Could be Stetson Bennett, the fourth. We don't know. But let's just assume that it's Stetson Bennett, the fourth. If it's Stetson Bennett, the fourth, then they're going to say, you know what? You can't see over your offensive lineman's shoulders. That's a real stat. So we're going to make you beat us by throwing the ball. I think that's important. And Tank Bigsby is going to have to be what his first name is. He's going to have to get probably 15 to 20 carries, and they're going to have to be Tank carries. 4 or 5 yards a carry, just keep moving the chains and keep the Georgia offense off the field. Now, can he do that? He's a big boy. Yeah, he can. Not very many people are going to push that Georgia line around. That's why I'm saying these are things that Auburn has to do. I'm not saying that they're things that they can do. Georgia's won 8 out of the last 10 in the series. Some of the games are a little bit tighter down at Jordan-Hare, but they've been dominating the series with Auburn. Make Stetson Bennett beat you. Run the ball. Very simple. Sounds simple, but it's not. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you want to join us here on the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. You've also got Arkansas at Ole Miss. Battle of quarterbacks there with KJ Jefferson and Matt Corral. Matt Corral did not look like Matt Corral last weekend. KJ Jefferson didn't look like KJ Jefferson last weekend. A lot of that had to do with the fact of who they were playing. The best 2 teams in the conference. So this game is huge here for who may finish second in the SEC West. And with that, I think it's going to come down to who rebounds better. Is it going to be Corral, the guy who we had the story last week where he's best friends with Lane Kiffin? Really? This is the same Lane Kiffin, by the way, that he gets off the plane when he gets hired and someone hands him a baby to kiss and tells him, get a burner phone. Yeah, that's your best friend. Okay. Good luck with all of that. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, though. I don't think Ole Miss's defense is really good. I don't think that Arkansas's defense is really good. I think they throw the ball up and down the field. It'll look like the Iowa Barnstormers. I use that reference a lot. Look for that game to be like, I don't know, 42-36 or some ridiculous number like that. Alabama's at Texas A&M. No one cares about this game. Why? Because Jimbo Fisher is proving once again that without Jameis Winston, he's a fraud coach. He certainly is. It's showing more and more. They're a 17.5-point underdog at home. Now, if they come out and they beat Alabama, I'll take back what I said because he's won a national title. But I just don't think that he's getting it done down there. And Nick Saban will probably roll through there and win by 25. I really think 17.5 is not enough. I'm giving away some of my stuff. I got to do my picks later on. Silly. LSU at Kentucky. This game is interesting in that LSU is, they've got talent. When you look at their overall roster, I think someone said that they have, like, as far as total talent, they've got like one of the top 10 rosters in the country from top to bottom. Okay. Now they may not have the best at one particular spot, but as far as overall talent, they've got one of the top rosters in the country. Max Johnson is great. Keyshawn Boutte is great. They don't have a ground game, though. That's pretty much what it boils down to. Kentucky, on the other hand, doesn't really have any offense. You know, Will Levis was supposed to be great, but he's really manageable. You've also got Will Levis. I don't know why I'm calling him Levis like there's a T in there. Anyway, this game is at Kentucky. Kentucky is now a 3.5-point favorite. Does anybody get the feeling here, though, that maybe this is the game where LSU puts it all together? Where Coach Orgeron screams a bunch of stuff at them in the locker room, and instead of having the bouncing ball that they used to have like on Reading Rainbow, it's actually, they can actually understand what he's saying and take some of it to heart. Maybe. He's 8-7 since they won the national title. There are a lot of LSU fans that are not happy with the show they're putting on there. I said Levis there, Alan, not lettuce. He might be lettuce when the game's over. Boutte, though, is a great player. The chat room's all up there for Kentucky. There you go with that. In my opinion, I think it's going to be close, but I kind of like LSU. I'll give you my pick against the spread in a moment. When we come back, we'll finish looking at games around the SEC, and then we'll take a spin around the ACC as well. We could talk about Coastal Carolina and how they're probably going to end up undefeated because the rest of their schedule is not very challenging. Not very challenging at all. We'll get into that when we come back. Of course, follow the show on Twitter. record month for downloads on the podcast. I sincerely appreciate that. Maybe what I'm doing is making some sense to some people. I don't know. Either way, maybe they just hate me and they just want to listen to the podcast so they can come up with. When we come back, we'll have more for you here on The Rundown, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Justin, that's a good question, man. I mean, he might. He was successful there. Kentucky, Biscuit, you're right. Kentucky is not great. Alan's at the McDonald's stealing the Wi-Fi to watch this show. You know, if first of all, I don't, he's been successful at every college stop that he's had. So there's that. We kind of talked about the uniforms the other day there, Brock. My thing is that I'm a guy that believes in traditions. Have a set tradition and go from there. I don't like the whole, we're going to wear different uniforms to get up for a game. I mean, that works for Oregon because they do that. But like for South Carolina, I think the best uniform for them, in my opinion, is at home where I like the black pants, the white tops, and the red helmet. On the road, wear the black helmets, red shirts, and white pants. I think that's what they should go with, but I'm not a fashion coordinator. I think that something that would be interesting is, and Shane Beamer can start this and say, you know what, we're going to have the team vote on what we have for now. And that's what we're sticking with forever. Not going to worry about it. We're just going to stick with that forever. It's amazing how pissy people get about uniforms, though. I mean, really. The new Gamecock uniforms, Biscuit, or which one are you talking about, man? Let me make sure I know what I'm talking about here. The Stormtrooper? The hell are you talking about, Jerome? I don't mind the garnet pants. Those look good, too. No. I mean, come on now. That's a little below the belt there, Randall. I'm wearing a shirt today. Calm down, gentlemen. Oof. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeart Radio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for checking out the show today. As we get you set up for the weekend, picks against the spread are coming, ladies and gentlemen. Just hold on. Hold on a minute. It's my wonderful cellular phone device. Literally, 3 people text me. When are you putting your picks out there? Like I'm some pick leader or whatever. I mean, my picks are pretty good. They're not like horrible, but they're not like go to Las Vegas and bet them. Anyway, full picks against the spread coming up here shortly. Final look here at some of the SEC matchups. 2 games that no one cares about. Vanderbilt's at Florida. Florida's a 38.5-point favorite. Dan Mullen is probably really upset after what happened at Kentucky. He's probably going to run the score up. Clark Lee, poor Clark Lee. Feel bad for him, man. He took over it's a tough job. That Vanderbilt job. That might be the toughest job in the country. Seriously. Can you think of a tougher Power 5 job than Vanderbilt? I'll wait. People think I'm like I have a hate for other teams. No, I just think Vanderbilt's a tough job. I really do. Jimmy says I struggle picking my nose. You're exactly right, sir. North Texas is at Mizzou. Mizzou's a 17.5-point favorite. Mizzou is just in my opinion, just trying to get through the season without being embarrassed. That's kind of the way it looks. That's why this game tomorrow for South Carolina is huge, because I think that they are, they're within a touchdown of Tennessee. If they can have the ball bounce their way and they can win, they're better than Vanderbilt. And I think they can go to Como and win, because Mizzou's not really feeling it right now. So the 6-win plateau is there, but starts tomorrow with Tennessee. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you would like to join us here on the rundown. Look at some ACC matchups this week. There aren't very many good ones. And when I look at the ACC schedule, it's like, what a light schedule. Georgia Tech plays at Duke. Tech's a 4-point favorite. Virginia's at Louisville. Louisville is a 2.5-point favorite. Wake Forest, the number 19 team in the country, plays at Syracuse. They are a 6-point favorite there. Florida State and North Carolina. North Carolina is a 17-point favorite. And Notre Dame will play at Virginia Tech. That is a pick'em. That is a pick'em. I'll give you my pick on that shortly. All right, so we'll take your calls at 803-978-1832. I did run into something. This is from 247 Sports, and I thought it was kind of interesting. And it talked about championship runs that could go on this year, that droughts that could end. And they mentioned some. SMU, their last conference championship was 1984. They are 5-0 this year. They could possibly be the team that rebounds from the death penalty and gets a conference championship. I can buy that. But they have a couple of ACC teams in here. One of them being NC State. Their last ACC championship was in 1979. Now, this NC State team went down to Mississippi State and got their butts handed to them, but then came back and won at home over Clemson, the team that everybody and their brother, including myself, thought was going to run away with the conference. Yeah, not so much. NC State has a realistic shot of doing it. Here's the thing. They're going to get into the conference championship game as long as they don't lose twice. You've also got Wake Forest there as well. That's another team that is undefeated. Maybe they're a team that could slip into the ACC championship game. We'll see. But we could have a new ACC championship game, our new ACC champion this year, unless NC State loses twice. You've also got Pitt in the mix. Their last outright conference title was in 2004. They could end that streak if they can survive the Coastal. They've got a matchup with Virginia Tech, I believe, later in the season. So we'll see how that works out for them. A couple of other teams that could, in theory, break their championship streak. Iowa State, their last conference title was in 1912. I could not believe that. They were in the MVIAA. I don't even know what that is. No clue. It's not around anymore. And they're theoretically could win the Big 12. We'll see. Arizona State last won their Pac-12 title in 1996. They're playing pretty good football right now at 4-1. And that conference out there is wide open, especially after Oregon fell to Stanford. Michigan. I hate bringing Michigan up because there are a lot of Ohio State fans that just kind of laugh. But Michigan, undefeated right now, they could be in the mix. Let's go out to the phones. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, I want to talk about that Georgia Tech Duke game.
Sure.
Obviously, I'm joking. No one wants to talk about that Georgia Tech Duke
I just
game.
mentioned it because it's on the schedule, sir. What game would you like to talk about?
Hey, second verse, same as the first. There's no good ACC games this week. Who would have thought, right?
I said that openly, so yeah.
Yeah. Also, did you make a Reading Rainbow reference when talking about LSU and Ed Orgeron?
Yeah,
Did I hear that right?
I did.
Okay. All right. Just
Did,
one
did
quick.
that upset you? And then I thought that they needed the bouncing ball to
No, I was
understand
gonna
what he's saying.
I was going to commend you on your creativity there, sir. That's
Yeah.
all.
Well, that's kind of how I am when he talks. I need the bouncing ball because I don't understand what the hell he's saying.
You just mentioned something about droughts coming to an end.
Sure.
I want to go. What's the date today? October what? Let's see here. Whatever it is.
October the 8th.
Yeah, go ahead and make me a spot there, another spot on that bookcase of accountability.
All right.
UGA's drought is coming to an end. They are winning a national championship, and for one reason, and his name is Will Muschamp. Go ahead and laugh, Rob. Go ahead and laugh.
Come on, man. Why don't you hang it on that Georgia defense and how great they are? Or hang it on the fact that maybe JT Daniels will come out of the training room and actually be the quarterback that he's capable of, or the great running backs that you have, or that awesome defensive line. I mean, that's a much more valid statement than two-time failure Will Muschamp.
By the way, everything you just mentioned was pulled together by that not top 25 coach, including the brilliant decision to bring the best special teams coach in America on board. By the way, have you ever seen our defense look so good? No. The answer is no. And guess who's been on campus?
I've said that. I've said your defense is outstanding. Your defense was pretty good last year too. It wasn't like you were a gong show last year. I think you were second overall in the conference in defense last year. So you weren't terrible last year either.
It wasn't like this. And who do you think I'm going to give the credit to? One would be, his name would be Will Muschamp. The guy knows defense.
Well, if that's the case, then why didn't they bring him in to replace the special teams coordinator instead of analyzing the coaches?
Oh, you're splitting hairs now, Rob. Don't drag me down into the weeds with your silly nonsense. This guy is a genius, and he's going to be the reason we win it all. 43-18, sir.
Have a great weekend, sir. We'll talk to you later on. Look, Georgia could win the national title. They're actually on this list that I was talking about here. But if they're winning a national title, it's not because of Will Muschamp. Let's just slow down a little bit. If Will Muschamp were that good, he should have done something in South Carolina. Maybe something in Florida, too. Thanks to Beg and Megan for joining the show. We appreciate him as always. More of the rundown when we come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Sparkles, Muschamp is reborn. Get the hell out of here. Come on, man. I'd do a podcast with Beg and Megan if he wanted to. I really would. We just end up yelling at each other and throwing things. Where's my highlighter? Will Muschamp is not reborn. There you go. He's stillborn. Wow. Off the top rope. Yeah, I think Beg and Megan is just trying to get me upset with the Will Muschamp thing. I really believe that. Garage Olympics, is that like that's a CrossFit thing, right? Or am I right about that? I thought about doing one of those. I would do he's one of the few people that I would do a podcast with. I mean, I not that I have time to do another podcast, but if I were going to do another show, he'd be one of the few because he's dumb, but he does know things. that should be his headline. Begging Megan. Dumb, but he knows things. I'm still laughing, ladies and gentlemen. Megan says that Georgia's winning the national title because of Will Muschamp. Let's all laugh together. Oh, goodness. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown this afternoon, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. All right, let's look at some picks. Got picks against the spread. We normally do like 10 picks against the spread. And I've got some games that I've looked at here that last week on the show I was 7-3 with the final picks against the spread. That is not bad. So 70%, that'll do well for you. I think my best week was 8-2. And I had a week where I was 4-6, so could go 4-6. Who knows? We shall see. First matchup, 3:30 tomorrow, North Carolina and Florida State. Give me the Heels -18. Florida State is terrible. Mac Brown, I think he's on his farewell tour. I really do. I think they're going to win out. We shall see, though. 803-978-1832 if you do want to call and join the show. Wake Forest and Syracuse. It started out at 11 points. It's down to 6.5. Wake Forest is going to beat Syracuse silly up there on the carpet at the dome, at the Carrier Dome. Give me Wake Forest to cover the 6. Let's see here. Other matchups that we're looking at here that I liked. In honor of Begging Megan, the Georgia Tech Duke game, which I know that he will be watching every single play of at 12:30 tomorrow. Georgia Tech is a 4-point favorite over Duke. Give me Tech. Jeff Collins trying to build that program up. He may fail, but I still think they're better than Duke. So give me Georgia Tech -4 over Duke. A couple of 3-2 teams, Virginia and Louisville. Louisville's playing a little bit better football right now. They're a 3-point favorite over the Cavs. Give me Louisville. Let's see here as we roll along. What were the other games that I was looking at? The Georgia-Auburn matchup. It's been steady 15 all week, up to 15.5, then down to 14.5, but pretty much 15 points. I think that the more and more I look at this game, I'm not too sure on how healthy Tank Bigsby is. So give me Georgia to win and cover. I've changed my mind like 3 times that week on this game, but give me Georgia to win and cover in that matchup. LSU and Kentucky, I'm taking LSU. Why? Because I don't think 60,000 fans at Kroger Field are as intimidating as everybody says that they are. And to be honest, I don't think LSU cares. I think that they're upset after losing to Auburn last week. Coach Orgeron will finally get his due. Give me LSU to win at Kentucky. A lot of folks are on that Kentucky bandwagon. They're gonna fall off. We haven't had Kentucky calls this week. You figure they would be rolling in after winning over Florida. They went over LSU. They may be calling this week because actually, no, they won't. They got to play the Georgia Juggernauts next weekend. Not looking forward to that. Anyway, as we roll along here, more picks against the spread. Oklahoma and Texas, the Red River Shootout. Texas is playing better. They really are. I know that it looks like they're running out of a uterus when they're at home. They can't help what the athletic administration has put into the stands. If you don't believe me, go to the blog page and search for Texas at foxsportsradio1400.com. I posted something. It shows their stadium. It looks like a woman's uterus that they run out of. That's just what it is. Texas is playing better football. One more call before we get out of here. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
How's it going, Bluegrass Sports Media?
Oh, well, hey, the Kentucky fans are calling. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What you got for the show?
LSU's in trouble this weekend. I think Coach Orgeron's going to get fired after this weekend.
Well, I mean, he's going to get fired anyway. But I mean, they may tarmac him if he loses there. At the airport, do you guys have goats on the infield again, or how does that work up there in Kentucky? You got that cleared out? Because they may have to clear the goats to pull him off of the plane so that they can fire him.
Well, they fired Lane Kiffin on tarmac.
Yeah, but that was in Southern Cal where they actually have airport traffic. I mean, Anyway, you like Kentucky to win this weekend?
I definitely like Kentucky to win. If they can't, they did a very poor job of stopping the run against UCLA. Kentucky's got a much better offensive line, and I think they don't have Derek Stingley, which, I mean, as far as our passing game goes, really doesn't matter because we're not very good at throwing the football.
At least you're honest about that.
But, I mean, he's still a big part of their defense. He basically shuts down a whole side of the field.
Yeah, well, it's not like you're going to throw the ball over there anyway. It's Kentucky's, 200 yards against Florida? I mean, it's pretty much run, and then they're trying to mix in a pass to keep you honest. That's pretty much the offense there for Kentucky. So,
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, run, then get the ball to Wan'Dale Robinson. That's pretty much the offense.
Yeah. All right, so you like Kentucky to win this weekend. I appreciate you calling the program, sir.
Yeah, and I'm going to call next week when we're 6-0 going into Georgia. I'll let the Georgia Bulldogs fans know.
Bless your heart, calling in with your 6-0 team that you're going to be an 18-point dog. Look at you, man.
Maybe we won't be an 18-point dog. Maybe we'll be a 14-point dog.
Oh, you're going to be I think you'll be an 18-point dog. I think that's what's going to happen. But, hey, bless your heart.
I think we cover, though.
You think you cover?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
talk to you next week, buddy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, there you go. He thinks that they cover. I think it's an 18-point spread. I really do. Penn State and Iowa, another matchup there. Iowa's a 1.5-point favorite. I think Iowa wins by 10. I'm not really impressed with Penn State. So give me Iowa at home minus the 1.5. Notre Dame and Virginia Tech. This is a pick 'em. Virginia Tech, Saturday night, Metallica and all that playing. I'm not impressed with Notre Dame. Give me Virginia Tech to win. That atmosphere is going to be on fire. Also, give me Texas to cover. Oklahoma probably wins, but Texas covers. There you go with that. And Tennessee and South Carolina. That's right. Tennessee and South Carolina. Vols are a 10-point favorite. I'm taking South Carolina to cover because I'm not really impressed with Tennessee. So it's not like Tennessee's done something where you look at them and you're like, hey, they're a great team. Beat Mizzou. Congratulations. Other than that, Tennessee Tech is tough, I guess, in the OVC. Seriously. Give me South Carolina to cover and possibly win. All right, don't forget the fifth quarter post-game show tomorrow. Myself, former Gamecock wide receiver Tim Frisbee, we will be on the air along with Justin Hall as soon as the game's over. You can call up, get your opinions out there on the South Carolina-Tennessee matchup. Pre-game will be on the air tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Everything you need to know about the South Carolina-Tennessee game, last-minute injuries, whatever. We'll have all of that tomorrow morning. Check us out on the iHeartRadio app. Look for 103.5 FM WVOC, and you can listen and get your pregame stuff set up for tomorrow's matchup, Tennessee and South Carolina. Appreciate everybody downloading the podcast. It'll be up at 5 o'clock today. Appreciate the callers, the folks watching on the internet. You guys are awesome. And follow me on Twitter. I'm at Rob Sounds Good. We will see you tomorrow for the best Gamecock coverage. You guys are awesome. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you guys later on, all right? I really appreciate you guys over there, man. Nice little audience we're building here, so thanks so much.